She's not interested. You've tried everything. You've been kind. You've shown up. You've said all the right things. And still, nothing. She looks at you like you're invisible. Or worse, like you're just nice. Here's what no one tells you. Her lack of interest has almost nothing to do with you, and everything to do with how she feels when she's around you. That's the uncomfortable truth most men never learn. You think attraction is about doing more, trying harder, being better, but attraction doesn't work like that. It never did. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might change the way you see women forever. Let's get honest for a moment. When a woman says she's not interested, most men hear rejection. And that hurts. I know it does. But here's what's really happening inside her mind. She's not rejecting you as a person. She's rejecting how you made her feel. Or rather, how you didn't make her feel. Women don't fall for logic. They don't sit down and make a list of your qualities. They don't think, he has a good job. He's tall. He texts back fast. I should like him. That's not how it works. Attraction for women is emotional. It's unconscious. It's a feeling that rises in her body before her mind even catches up. And if that feeling isn't there, nothing you say or do will create it. At least, not in the way you've been trying. Most men chase harder when they sense a woman pulling away. They text more. They explain themselves. They try to prove their worth. And every single time, it pushes her further away. Because chasing doesn't create desire. Tension does. Curiosity does. Silence does. Let that sink in. Now let me walk you through the real shifts. The ones that actually spark desire. Not tricks. Not games. Just truth. Stop being available all the time. I know this sounds counterintuitive. You've been taught that being there for her is romantic. But here's the truth. When you're always available, you remove the tension. You kill the mystery. She knows exactly where you stand. There's nothing left to wonder about. And without wonder, there's no spark. Think about it. Have you ever wanted something more because it was hard to get? Of course you have. Everyone has. That's not manipulation. That's human nature. When something comes too easy, we question its value. Not because we're shallow, but because our brains are wired that way. So, what does this mean for you? It means stop dropping everything the second she texts. It means stop canceling your own plans just to see her. It means have a life, a real one, with goals, with friends, with genuine purpose, not as a tactic, but because that's the man you need to become. When she senses you have other things going on, something shifts inside her. She starts to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Why didn't he reply right away? And that wondering is the first flicker of desire. Here's the second shift. Make her feel something unexpected. Most men are predictable. They compliment her looks. They agree with everything she says. They laugh at every joke even when it's not funny. And sure, that feels good for a moment. But it doesn't create attraction. You know what does? Surprise. A pause when she expected a response. A challenge when she expected agreement. A tease when she expected flattery. Not rudeness. Not disrespect. Just unpredictability. When she can't quite figure you out, she starts paying attention. Her mind keeps returning to you. That one comment. That one look. That moment when you didn't react the way she expected. That's emotional tension. And it's incredibly powerful. Now here's where it goes deeper. You've probably heard that women want confidence. But confidence isn't what you think. It's not about being loud. It's not about bragging. It's not about pretending you have no fears. Real confidence is quiet. It's calm. It's a man who doesn't need her approval to feel good about himself. And women sense this instantly. When you're desperate for her attention, she feels it. Even if you don't say a word, your energy gives you away. But when you're grounded, when you're at peace with yourself, when you don't need her validation to know your own worth, that's magnetic. She might not even understand why she's drawn to you, but she is. Because a man who doesn't need her becomes a man she wants. That's the paradox most men miss. Now, let's go even further. There's something most men never consider, and it's killing their chances before they even begin. It's the way they look at her, not with their eyes, but with their energy. When you look at a woman and all you see is someone you want to impress, she feels it. When you look at her hoping she'll choose you, she senses your desperation underneath. But when you look at her like she's just another person, like you're curious about her but not attached to the outcome, something changes. She feels the difference immediately. Suddenly you become interesting. Suddenly you become a challenge. Suddenly she's the one wondering what you think of her. This is the fourth shift. And it's subtle but powerful. Learn to engage without attaching. Talk to her without needing anything from her. Ask questions because you're genuinely curious, not because you're trying to keep the conversation alive. And if the conversation dies, let it die. Don't scramble to fill the silence. Don't panic and over-explain. Just be still. Silence makes most men nervous. They rush to fill it. They think if they stop talking, she'll lose interest. But the opposite is true. Silence is where attraction breathes. When you can sit in silence without discomfort, you project calm. You project control. You project that you're not desperate to keep her engaged. And that silence? It makes her lean in closer. Here's another shift most men overlook. Stop putting her on a pedestal. I know she's beautiful. I know she seems perfect. I know every part of you wants to worship her. But the moment you do that, you lose her. Because when you put her above you, she looks down at you. Not because she's arrogant, but because that's how attraction works. We don't desire what's beneath us. We desire what's equal or above us. So when you treat her like she's special before she's earned it, you position yourself as less than her. And that kills desire before it can even begin. Here's what to do instead. Treat her like she still has to impress you too. Not with arrogance. Not with rudeness. Just with quiet self-respect. Look at her like you're curious, but not convinced. Listen to her like you're interested, but still deciding. Let her wonder if she's good enough for you. That flip alone can change everything. Now here's something uncomfortable. Most men who struggle with women have one thing in common. They're trying to prove they're enough. Every text they send, every compliment they give, every favor they do, it's all secretly saying, please like me, please choose me, please validate me. And women feel this. Even if they can't name it, they sense it. It feels heavy. It feels needy. It feels like pressure. And pressure is the opposite of attraction. So here's the sixth shift. Stop trying to prove yourself. You are already enough. Right now. As you are. Not when you get the girl. Not when you earn more money. Not when you get in better shape. Right now. The moment you actually believe this, everything changes. Your energy shifts. Your presence changes. The way you carry yourself transforms. And women notice. They notice because it's rare. Most men are still trying to prove themselves daily. But you've stopped auditioning for her approval. And that makes you different from every other guy in her life. Now, let's talk about emotional tension. This is where most men fail completely. They think attraction is about positive feelings, making her laugh, making her comfortable, making her happy all the time. And those things matter, yes, but they're not what create deep desire. What creates desire is the full range of emotions, the highs and the lows, the push and the pull. One moment you're warm, the next you're slightly distant. One moment you're giving attention, the next you pull back naturally. This isn't about being hot and cold in a toxic way. It's about rhythm. It's about emotional texture. When things are always smooth, there's no spark. But when there's tension, uncertainty, a little mystery in the air, that's when her feelings deepen. Think about the best movies you've ever watched. The ones that stayed with you for years. They had conflict. They had tension. They had moments where you didn't know what would happen next. Attraction works the same way. You want to be the movie she can't stop thinking about, not the predictable sitcom she's seen 100 times. Create that tension, not through manipulation, through your own emotional depth. Let her feel the push and pull of your energy. That's what creates obsession. Now let me pause here, because I know what some of you are feeling right now. You're tired. You've been trying for so long. You've put an effort that no one ever sees. You've cared deeply for women who didn't care back. And it hurts. I want you to know something important. You're not crazy. You're not broken. And you're not unworthy of love. You've just been playing by rules that don't work anymore. You were taught to be nice, to show interest openly, to pursue relentlessly. And maybe those things worked in the past. Maybe they worked for your father or grandfather. But the world has changed. Women have options now. Endless options. Every day, their phones light up with attention from 100 different men. So the old rules don't apply anymore. You have to adapt. You have to evolve. You have to understand what actually creates attraction in this modern world. And that's what this video is about. Not blaming women, not becoming bitter, not giving up on love, but becoming the kind of man who doesn't have to chase. The kind of man who draws women toward him naturally. The kind of man who is chosen, not because he begged, but because he was worth choosing. That man is already inside you. You just haven't uncovered him yet. Let me tell you what happens when you actually make these shifts. At first, nothing seems to change. Maybe she doesn't text back. Maybe she still seems distant and cold. But over time, something begins to shift. Not in her, in you. You stop waiting by your phone. You stop analyzing every word she said. You stop wondering what you did wrong. You start focusing on yourself, your goals, your health, your growth, your peace of mind. And as you grow, something strange happens. She starts to notice. Maybe she texts out of nowhere. Maybe she starts showing up differently. Maybe she realizes she took you for granted. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. By that point, you might not even want her anymore. Because you've changed. You're no longer the man who is willing to beg for her attention. You've become someone who knows his worth. And that's the ultimate power shift. When you stop chasing her, she starts chasing what she lost. But you're no longer waiting around for her. You've moved on to a version of yourself she never got to experience. This is what silence does. When you pull back without anger. When you disappear without drama. When you simply stop giving her the attention she got used to. It creates a void. And she starts to feel that void deeply. Not because you played games, but because you finally prioritized yourself. Silence is powerful because it makes her feel your absence. And absence, as they say, makes the heart grow fonder. But not needy absence. Not passive-aggressive silence. Just a man quietly building his life without waiting for her approval. That's what makes women regret. Not confrontations. Not emotional speeches. Not begging or pleading. Just a man who walked away and became better without her. She'll wonder about you. She'll remember how you made her feel. She'll think about the potential she threw away. And by then, you'll be too busy becoming great to even notice. This is the flip. Most men give women all the power by making their happiness dependent on her response. But when you reclaim your energy, when you channel it into yourself, when you decide that your peace is more important than her attention, you take the power back. Not power over her. Power over your own life. And that's the most attractive thing a man can have. A woman can sense when a man has truly moved on, when he's no longer orbiting around her, when he's no longer hoping she'll change her mind. That's when regret hits her. That's when she realizes what she actually lost. Not because you told her, but because she felt it in your absence. So stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying your worth. Stop trying to convince her you're a good guy. Just quietly build the life you want. Become someone she'll regret ignoring. And do it for yourself. Not for revenge. Not to prove something. But because you deserve to become that man. You are always capable of this. You just forgot along the way. Your worth was never in her hands. It was always in yours. Let me leave you with this. You are not defined by the women who didn't choose you. Read that again. You are not defined by the women who didn't choose you. Their rejection says nothing about your value, nothing about your future, nothing about what you actually deserve. It only says something about where you were in that moment. And moments pass. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to become someone you're deeply proud of. And when you do, the right woman will see it. Not because you convinced her, not because you performed for her, but because she recognized something real, something grounded, something magnetic, something rare. That's the man you're becoming. So stop wasting energy on women who don't see your worth. I know it's hard. I know you cared about her. I know part of you still hopes she'll come around, but hoping isn't a strategy. Action is. Focus that energy on yourself, on building skills, on healing old wounds, on becoming physically, emotionally, and mentally stronger. Not for her, for you. Because when you truly level up, something shifts in your entire reality. Women who ignored you start paying attention. Women who took you for granted start reaching out. Women who seemed out of your league suddenly seem reachable. Not because you tricked them, but because you became someone worth noticing. That's the real secret. It was never about her. It was always about you. The man you're willing to become determines the women you'll attract. So stop obsessing over her. Stop analyzing what went wrong. Stop replaying conversations in your head at night. Let it go. Walk forward. There's a better version of you waiting on the other side of this pain. And she'll be there too. The right one. Not the one you had to chase. The one who chooses you willingly, happily, completely. But first, you have to become him. The man who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel complete. The man who walks with quiet confidence because he knows exactly who he is. The man who treats women well, but never at the expense of his own self-respect. That's who you're growing into. And the journey starts now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when she texts you back. Right now. Decide today that you will no longer chase women who show no interest. Decide that your time, your energy, and your peace are worth protecting fiercely. Decide that you will become so focused on your mission that distractions fall away naturally. That's the mindset of a man who attracts. Not desperation. Not neediness. Not fear of being alone. Just purpose, direction, and quiet power. Women notice this energy. They always have. So give them something to notice. Build something meaningful. Pursue something bigger than romance. Develop yourself into the kind of man who has real options. And when you have options, everything changes. You no longer settle. You no longer beg. You no longer accept less than you deserve. Because you know there are other women out there who will appreciate you. And that knowledge alone transforms how you show up. It removes desperation. It adds confidence. It shifts your entire presence. Become that man. Not for her. For you. Now, before you go, I want to ask you something. Think about the woman you've been chasing. The one who doesn't text back. The one who keeps you at arm's length. The one who seems just out of reach. Ask yourself honestly, are you loving her? Or are you just afraid of being alone? Are you genuinely connected? Or are you chasing the idea of what she represents? Sometimes we pursue people not because they're right for us, but because we think their approval will fix something broken inside. But it never does. Only you can fix that. Only you can fill that void. And when you do, you'll stop chasing. You'll start attracting. That's the shift I want for you. So here's my question. What's one thing you're going to focus on this week instead of waiting for her? Drop it in the comments below. I want to know. Because your growth matters more than her attention ever could. And I believe you're ready to prove that. If this hit home for you, subscribe and turn on notifications. There's more coming. Videos designed to help you become the man women don't forget. Not through games. Not through manipulation. But through real transformation. I'll see you in the next one. Stay focused. And remember, you were always enough. You just needed to believe it.